vaginal dryness and trouble sleeping. Okay, now this is, everybody knows it's kind of the change, and that teeter-totter is really going crazy because all these different hormones are starting to decrease and fall off, right? But at the same time, we still want to come in and supplement and make sure that things aren't dropping off completely, because that's when these symptoms kind of get out of control. So you make it a nice steady decrease, then that helps go through this process as well. And now some of the symptoms of low blood sugar, headaches, fatigue, trouble sleeping, night sweats, irritability. So you can see these three lists, they kind of all mesh together. So if you have a headache, you don't know, okay, it could be one of these three things. Now there's also very many other problems that can cause this. You can have biomechanical issues in your neck or in your head. So kind of limitless possibilities. But if you are only treating that headache because you think it's low blood sugar, if that's not the actual cause, you can see where, okay, it's never going to really resolve that problem. Okay? Okay, so this kind of just summarizes what I just said. The symptoms you have, whether they are labeled PMS, osteoporosis, menopause, perimenopause, etc., have a cause. The true cause of the symptom then tells us the most effective treatment. Okay, the cause may be a combination of several problems: low blood sugar, weak adrenal glands, a malfunctioning nervous system, improper diet, stress, and finally deficiency of estrogen, progesterone, or both. Okay, so if excess estrogen is unopposed or unbalanced by progesterone, this is called estrogen dominance. And like we talked about earlier with all the meat and the milk and the plastics, it's very easy to become estrogen dominant now. It's almost unavoidable unless you're making that extra effort, like I said, to not overheat the plastics. If you're buying the organic meats and the organic milk that they've said for sure no hormones were injected into those. Now, I know that sometimes that's not always an option, but if you know that you are eating those things with extra estrogen in them, then you kind of got to take a step and say, okay, I know I probably already am estrogen dominant. What can I do to help rectify that situation? Okay? Okay, and then here's some of the symptoms of just being estrogen dominant. So they're pretty much those same symptoms that we already talked about, those PMS and menopause symptoms. Okay, and also it can lead to fibrocystic breast disease, endometriosis, and polycystic ovary disease. So, this is not something that you want to just think, oh, no problem, okay, I can deal with the symptoms. But you want to make sure that over your life, in a long time, you're not keeping that estrogen dominance up. Okay? I see people writing things down. Do you want me to wait and we can write it? Or, yep, sure. You done in the back, or do you want me to hold on?
Go ahead.
Okay, you sure? Okay, so this estrogen imbalance can be improved by eliminating the estrogen-containing foods such as commercially grown poultry and meats, as well as dairy, meat, and cheese. Okay, so the same kind of thing. If that animal was fed something with hormones in it, it now has estrogen dominance, and now we go to eat the milk or the meat, and that estrogen is passed on to us. Okay, so one of the easiest things for you on your own, to eliminate those estrogens, that's nice and easy. This slide is about the progesterone creams, which honestly you should be recommended this by a doctor that has, knows your case history, knows a little bit about you. So I wouldn't recommend just going out and saying, okay, I need a progesterone cream. Because starting to play with adding hormones like that is not really a safe idea. Unless you are a doctor and you know that kind of stuff, it might throw that teeter-totter off even more. But the safe things to do are eliminating the plastics and the meats and the cheeses. But this is about, we've had great success with some women who this, was their problem area. They have a progesterone cream that they just apply kind of once a day. But like I said, we found out that that was their entry point of the problem. So this was our solution. Like I said, so not everybody, this would be the solution. Okay. There are also certain herbs and supplements that can be beneficial for relieving some of those symptoms. Some of the big ones are the primrose oil, the black cohosh, the sage, and the red raspberry leaf. So I'll let you, if you want to write some of those down, you can. Now these are also a safe kind of thing. It's not like the progesterone cream where that's a hormone that you're introducing. This is an herb that, some people have success with them, some people don't. So, yes?
Now, I got some of that primrose oil. You take it all the the time, or do you just take it when you have symptoms?
Has it been helping you when you have the symptoms? Have you noticed? Okay.
Yeah.
Then you could take it when you just have the symptoms. Taking it outside of that, we're not sure it's helping, but it might not be completely solving the problem. So you don't want to kind of get your body used to it, and then it might not help with the symptoms. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody ready? Okay. Okay. So women who suffer from low blood sugar can be misdiagnosed as having hormone problems. You know, like we saw, lots of the very similar symptoms. And because blood sugar levels can directly affect your mood, it may affect your vitamin and mineral levels. So that's definitely one of the big problems that we have to rule out. Okay, so here's one of the big key things if it's a blood sugar problem. You crave those sweets and you depend on the coffee, but midday, probably like 3 or 4 o'clock, you just feel like you need a nap, like you are totally exhausted. Okay, so that is usually when you eat something very high carb or high sugar, it only lasts in your system for a little bit and then you crash. So if this is something that you think, okay, when I asked, do you crave the sweets, but then a little while later you feel that crash, it's probably a blood sugar issue. Okay? Okay, so a diet that's high in junk food and white sugar that is free from those two things is highly recommended. So those are the two big culprits that will cause that crash after you eat them. Okay, and then vitamins E and C and essential fatty acids are 3 of the biggest things that will help kind of balance that out. Okay, then calcium and magnesium are essential to prevent osteoporosis. It helps keep the bones nice and strong. And on that note, it's also a form of calcium that you can absorb and use. The calcium that's in most milk, not really something that our bodies can absorb and take in. Okay, baby cows are pretty much bigger than us already, right? So that's not the same calcium that we as humans need. So even though the milk says, okay, it's got vitamin D and calcium in it, it's not the kind that we can absorb and use properly. So thinking, okay, well, I drank my milk, that's not always enough, okay? And then another big culprit of depleting those calcium levels, if they're already low already, is the phosphoric acid that's in pop. So, you know, any of those fizzy drinks, things like that, that is a huge depletion of the calcium that you may or may not already have. Okay? Okay, so like we said earlier, you know, one of the biggest things is the free-range chickens and meats and the milk, that they've stated that it's positive that it's hormone-free. That's the best way that you can go. I mean, there still might be something else, but that is the best as far as getting rid of that extra estrogen that they put into some of those other products. Okay, and then too much tension and stress can cause a malfunction of one's nervous system. When the spine and nervous system are out of balance, one's hormone balance can be affected too. So this kind of crosses over into a different part of chiropractic. It's the biomechanical part, which I think Dr. Graham is going to speak about later. It's if you have any biomechanical issues with your low back, which can cause pain in your low back, right? There are different chiropractic methods that can help handle that as well. So sometimes not just, you know, supplementing the hormones. Sometimes it has to be, okay, the nerves to that area are not functioning properly and we've got to get that jump started as well. Okay, so here's just some chiropractic research and things that have shown how it has helped women dealing with PMS and menopause symptoms. Okay, so chiropractic treatments to reduce stress and balance the nervous system has a beneficial effect on women suffering from PMS and menopause. Okay, so here's just a report from the Journal of Manipulative and Physiological Therapeutics involving a 35-year-old woman with a chronic history of PMS showed that after chiropractic care, she experienced a significant decrease or removal of her symptoms of breast tenderness, bloating, abdominal cramping, and lower back pain. Okay, so this is, you know, there's 2 other slides I think in here too. Now, not everybody's exactly the same, right? So this is just kind of, it may or may not help. This is just kind of some ladies that it did help, okay? Another research study involved a woman who had been experiencing hot flashes over a 4-year period. She had a significant decrease in the hot flashes after she began care. In conclusion, the patient went from slightly over 4 hot flashes a day to almost 0 after receiving 11 treatments. That's pretty good. 11 is